In this video, we're going to be talking about expeditions in PoE 2, including the basics, some tips and tricks to make your life a little bit easier, an explanation of the crafting system, an overview of the skill tree and what I'd recommend taking, and a quick guide for the pinnacle boss fight. Expedition encounters are indicated by this icon on the atlas and can spawn naturally or be added through expedition precursor tablets. Inside the map, you'll find a dig site with one of 4 NPCs. We'll talk about each of them a bit more later, but for now, just know that once you find them, they should become available in your hideout and allow exchanging artifacts for other items. At these dig sites, you'll be given 5 explosives to place on the ground. Your goal is to find artifacts and logbooks by killing as many runic monsters as possible and revealing excavated chests. Runic monsters are indicated by these flagpoles. If a flagpole is within range of your explosion, a runic monster will spawn when it explodes. These banners, on the other hand, indicate a chest that will be revealed in the explosion. The color of the icon on the banner indicates the rarity level of the chest, either white, blue, or yellow. In addition to these, you will see a number of remnants which contain modifiers. Generally speaking, the top half will be a downside and the bottom half will have an upside, and these modifiers are applied to everything blown up during or after the point at which they are blown up. For example, if your first explosive placed includes increased rarity found in excavated chests, then every chest unearthed during the entire event will have that increased rarity. If it's in the last explosion, though, only chests revealed in that final explosion will have the increased rarity. Keep this in mind as you're planning your path, but don't let them completely dictate your placement. If you get all the best modifiers for runic monsters but then don't actually have any runic monsters within range of your explosions, then they're completely worthless. I try to at least get 1 or 2 good remnants to buff up my loot, and then mainly focus on including as many runic monsters and chests, usually prioritizing runic monsters slightly over chests, unless my remnants are boosting chests with expedition logbooks, in which case I'd prioritize those because those will eventually lead to the boss fight. When placing explosives, be careful which remnants you include, because some of them can be very dangerous, especially when combined with other modifiers. The yellow modifiers in particular require extra attention because they can be build breaking, making monsters immune to a specific type of damage. In my case, any that make monsters immune to cold or physical damage are a complete no-go, while fire or chaos immunity wouldn't be a problem at all. If you ever misplace something or need to change your route, you can use this undo button to remove any placed explosives. After you've planned everything out and got all explosives in place, a yellow arrow will show up in the middle of your screen directing you to the detonator, which will start the event and set off explosives in order, with a couple seconds between each. Generally speaking, you should focus on killing all monsters before worrying about any of the loot, because they can be deadly and take you out quickly if you aren't careful. Once everything is dead, be sure you go around and open up all chests and collect artifacts, logbooks, and any other loot that you want to keep. Artifacts you find can be traded into one of the 4 expedition NPCs back at your hideout, or sold to other players at the currency exchange. As I mentioned earlier, these NPCs should show up at your hideout once you've encountered them in the expedition. Tujin will sell you belts and jewelry for Black Scythe artifacts. Gwenin sells weapons for Broken Circle artifacts. Raj sells armor for Order artifacts. And Danig allows you to exchange Sun artifacts for any of the other 3. Unlike other vendors, their inventory does not change when you level up, so if you see something you like and you don't have enough artifacts for it, it will still be there the next time you come back. If you don't see anything worthwhile, you can refresh their stock with exotic coinage, which is another drop from expeditions. Whenever you purchase an item from one of them, you will be given an option to spend some more artifacts to upgrade or alter it in some way. It will give you an option, something like adding a prefix or suffix, re-rolling all prefixes or suffix, or removing prefixes or suffixes. If a specific upgrade isn't something that you want, you can either skip it or take the item as is. Skipping will give you another optional upgrade while increasing the cost of that upgrade, but you can't skip twice in a row. If you ever find yourself without enough artifacts to complete the upgrade, don't worry, you can leave and come back and that item will still be there where you left off, ready to be upgraded. This can be a fun way to potentially get some new gear, either for yourself or to sell. Now let's talk about expedition logbooks. Logbooks can be turned into Danig to take you on a special type of expedition. It will give you the option between 2 different expedition maps, and these expeditions are much larger than the ones you encounter in normal maps. You're given a lot more explosives, and as far as I know, it's not possible to find a logbook within one of these, but otherwise they are mostly the same. Keep an eye out for these icons though. This indicates that an underground area is available that you can blow up to access for a few more monsters and chests. And if you see this icon, that's the pinnacle boss Orloth, and you definitely want to make your way there. Orloth can only appear in area level 79 plus expeditions, but once you've got a couple points spent in the skill tree, the increased difficulty level from the Atlas can actually cause your area level to increase when you open up the expedition. The second time I fought Orloth was from a level 78 logbook. Once I zoned into the map, I noticed that the area level had been increased to 79 and saw the boss icon. So if you have any level 78 logbooks, you might want to save them until after you've spent your first 2 points. The Orloth fight itself is actually pretty easy. I found it much easier than the Breach Pinnacle boss. As far as preparation, the only thing you may want to do is have max cold resistance and potentially a charm that gives you immunity to freeze, because that's likely the only way you're going to die, is if you get frozen at an unfortunate time. Most of his moves are pretty easy to see coming and avoid, and anytime that I did get hit, it wasn't nearly enough to actually kill me, but there are a few to watch out for. At times, he will lift his sword up into the air for a few seconds. When he does, move out of the way, because shortly after that he will slam it down, dealing damage in an AoE around it, and it will leave behind an area of frozen ground that will pulse and do more damage over time, so stay out of that. He also has a move where he throws his sword kind of like a boomerang, and it will shoot out and then come back to him. When it comes back, it deals damage in an area around him, so move out of the way once he throws it. Occasionally, these pillars will start to form in a circle and they will do cold damage, so get out of them if they start to form around you. He also has a charge up attack where he will hold his sword and it will glow for a couple seconds, and then he will dash forward and swing his sword at the end of the dash. Run to his sides or behind him to avoid it. He also has a move where he'll swing his sword a few times and shoot out these waves of ice. They didn't really seem to do much at all, but I generally just tried to avoid them to be safe. Shortly after the fight starts, there's an expedition-shaped thing here that will circle the room and it will shoot ice beams and other ice attacks at you. It's pretty easy to avoid for the most part, just keep moving and watch out for it. Honestly, that's pretty much all there is to look out for move-wise. But when you get his health low, he will kneel to the ground and then heal up, starting phase 2. In phase 2, the only difference is that the moves go off a little bit faster and more often, so it's a bit more chaotic. Otherwise, it's all the same stuff though. One thing worth noting is that on the second and third time I fought him with increased difficulty from the skill points, there were 3 portals surrounding the room that would spawn in enemies throughout the course of the fight. They were pretty easy and weak, but worth noting. Otherwise, it was the same fight though, and still pretty easy to take him down and get those skill points. As you can see here, I have 6 out of 8 skill points. I'd highly recommend your first 2 points go to Disturbed Rest to increase runic monsters by 50%, and then your next 2 points should go to Detailed Records. This will increase your overall loot and chance for logbooks, which means more loot and more chances to find Orloth. Then I'd recommend taking Timed Detonations for 50% increased artifact from monsters and faster detonations, and your final 2 points should go to Legendary Battles for 50% increased rare expedition monsters and exotic coinage. These will give you more loot and coinage so you can refresh the vendors more often. Let me know in the comments below if I missed anything or if there's anything else you'd like to see me cover. My current plan is to grind out some Delirium and Ritual so I can make videos on those next, but if you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. If you enjoyed this video or it helped you out, be sure to toss me a like or subscribe to the channel. It's greatly appreciated and helps me out a ton. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.